Hi guys, it's Julia Rowan. I had another thought, sort of an offshoot of yesterday's video, and it came to me in the shower, as these things often do. So I thought I would talk a little bit about witchy spell work. And this isn't so much like a how-to as opposed to a why-to, and a sort of a deeper thinking about witchy spell work and stuff. So bear with me. No makeup on. Sorry. All natural today. So the reason I wanted to talk about sort of like the why behind spellwork is there seems to be a lot of videos around spellwork and different spells and it being a part of witchcraft and all surrounding paths. And there seems to be some sort of misconceptions around, or some sort of messages out there that I think people need to reevaluate or look at and question and see whether or not you agree with what you think people are saying. And this is a really important part of anybody's life experience, is to question everything you're told. Everything, you know. Does that feel right? Does that sound right? Sometimes I literally hear things that people say and laugh, because it's just so far off what I honestly believe to be this amazing path that it just sounds silly. She says. Being daft. So basically the first thing, okay, do you have to cast spells to be a witch? No. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to behave in this. You don't have to cast spells, okay? What makes a witch is a very personal and spiritual experience. Why are people drawn to paganism and witchcraft and so on and so forth? There tend to be sort of two main ways in which people come to it, and it doesn't matter how you come to it, it's what you then do with it when you get there. But the two main ways that people come to it, it's they've looked or dealt with other types of religion that just don't feel right. They don't like being dictated to. They don't like being given doctrine and told this is the only way you can do something. They don't like the bias or the preferential treatment of certain types of people over other certain types of people, whether it be sort of sexism or racism that they find within religions which shouldn't be there. They don't like being talked down to. They've always felt more akin to the idea of nature having a spiritual self, of being in awe of that, rather than one set place or building being the only place of religious worship. And they don't want to be told that they have to go through someone else to commune with spirit and deity. That's one way. The other way is through this selfish idea of media given hocus pocus re. We've all seen movies and thought that's so cool, and that's how, look, spells, firebolts at your fingers, and I'm going to click my fingers and this guy's going to, or girl is going to fall in love with me, or you know, that sort of mentality which keys into selfish ideas and overblown misconceptions within the media, and people then sort of investigate it, and that is usually through spells, like, how can I help myself with this spell? And no matter how you come, and you might have both, you know, you might have seen something in a movie and it clicked with you. Like, some of the movies have little nuggets which are actually bordering on something truthful for the way it is. For example, one of the first movies I remember watching was The Craft, and if you've seen that movie, it's amazing movie, but a lot of it is blown out of proportion, obviously. And the nugget in truth that I clasped onto is that the lady who has the shop said magic is neither good nor bad. It's the witch that makes it so. And that's something that resonated with me at the time from a movie. And so, you know, it's not a bad thing to have come from both directions, preferably both. If you come into this thinking, I just want spells to improve my life, then just go. Spellcraft is so much more than just, I'm going to click my fingers and make something happen for me. What a spellcraft actually is a communing, a petitioning of the universe to help you with something. It is akin to prayer. So people who pray and then say that spellcraft is evil, it doesn't make any sense to me, because it's more or less the same thing. It's utilizing tools, but you don't need these tools. You don't need them. You could just literally pray in a pagan sense, and that would be as effective, because all you are doing is using those instruments to channel your thoughts and your energy work. The energy then is being petitioned into the universe, and it vibrations, and it's sort of up to the universe whether or not they amplify or clamp down on what you're doing. It's not your personal, I did it, it was me. No. And if you go into it, you're never going to get anywhere like that, because you need to have a humble sense of self and petition humbly and be peaceful and thank the universe for anything and everything you receive. It is a humbling spiritual experience, Spellwork. And why I said you didn't have to do spells to be a witch. You don't have to, right? The whole point of being a witch is to walk your own path, to not be told what you have and have not to do. I know some amazing witches who rarely, if ever, cast spells. And they only do it in their time of greatest need, because they think doing a spell for this, that, and the other is belittling the act of spell work in itself, is in detriment to what it should be. That the idea of a spell is so sacred and so potent, because you are communing with the divine in the spellcraft, asking for something, that it should only be done when all other methods of trying have been exhausted, and when you desperately need something. And a lot of people will say, you know, my spell didn't work. What did I do wrong? Well, it might be the universe has decided, spirit has decided, God and Goddess has decided you don't need it. Or you're going about it wrong. You're asking and asking and asking and taking and taking and taking and giving back what? There has to be a balance to spell work. You have to give back. You know, whether how you give back is another personal thing. Some people do it through spell work, healing the planet, you know, or healing animals, or just general healing energies, putting their energy back in a non-selfish manifestational way. Because there has to be balance to everything. And you'll hear people go, I'm neither light or dark, I'm both. Well, you're only both if you are giving as well as receiving. So, camera's going all over the place. You don't have to cast spells to be a witch. A witch is about work. A witch is to be wise. The whole word I mean, there is debate and argument about it, but generally the accepted interpretation of a witch is a wise one. somebody who seeks out knowledge, who seeks to better themselves and better the world around them. This can be through, you know, nature and giving and charity and all that sort of thing, giving back into the world. And people who are going to like poo-poo this for hippie, fluffy, whatever, you cannot say that you can cast spells utilizing the gifts of earth, herbs, flowers, oils, you know, anything that comes from the planet, which, let's face it, is everything, and say that, you know, you're just going to take that and take that. It's nothing to do with giving back to the earth. We just take what we want and, you know, tough. That's what's wrong with the world. That is what's wrong with the world. The taking and being entitled and thinking I can just cast a spell and money's going to fall in my lap and there's no consequences. I don't believe in consequences. Like, really? Like, you really don't believe there is balance to everything? That if you keep taking and taking and taking, something is going to fall through, that you will be surrounded by chaos and negativity? You really don't believe that? You don't believe if we keep taking and taking from the earth, it's going to fall to pieces? There's a reason why people are involved in environmental green issues, trying to stop the world from being abused and dead. Because if we keep on with this accumulating mentality, the world will fall to bits and you'll have nothing left. There's a Native American saying, and I can't remember it for the life of me right now, but it's like, when all the world is drained of resources, have fun eating your things, you know, because you didn't respect and look after the world. I can't remember what the exact words were, but it's that sort of thing. Spellwork should be a balancing of self and of the world around, right? It's a giving and a taking, and it is through the goodwill of deity and spirituality. It's not just waving your fingers and getting what you want, and people seem to have disconnected spirit from spellwork, and it's not feasible. Somehow people think that, I'm trying to think about, I don't have anything around me, but if you have a candle and then you focus your energies and you do something, then it's not about you. It's about going through spirituality. And yesterday I talked about having spiritual connections to other people through spirit, and that tug on spirituality, the threads, it's the same thing. Spellwork is creating a thread where you tug at the universe requesting something. And once that bond is formed, you've put your intentions and your thoughts and desires out there, and woe betide you if all you're doing is negative stuff, because that's all you're going to get back. The universe, spirit, deity, however you want to see it, is so much more than we are. More knowledgeable, more powerful, everything. And you just selfish spellwork is disrespecting the powers that be. And it really irritates me that, like, there is no sense of responsibility often attached to spellwork, okay? Quite often I focus in on love spells because it's the easiest thing to explain and the most sought after, apart from possibly negative magic, information that people look for, because everybody wants to be loved. Fair enough. Everybody wants to find their special somebody. That's great. Okay, that's a beautiful thing. But there's a difference here in types of love magic that I would say are positive and those that are negative. And this, I hope, illustrates the point of spirit tying into spellwork. Love spells, you can do it in two ways. One is a generalized putting your love in the hands of the god, goddess, deity, spirit, whatever you want to call it, right? So you put together a love spell and you request the universe helps you make connections to where you are meant to be to help you find the person that you are meant to be with. Nothing wrong with that. You are putting out threads, if you want like a physical manifestation way of thinking about it, putting out threads saying I'm ready, I need this, please help me see, help me realize, help me think, help me find the person who would complete me. Right. The other way of doing it is I've decided this person is for me, and I don't care if they have a girlfriend or a boyfriend or a marriage. I don't care about that. I just want them for myself, and give them to me. Tie them to me, bind them to me, against their will, perhaps. Right? You're interfering with free will of another god, son, goddess, daughter, however you want to, another human being who we are all daughters and sons of spirit, deity, however you want to see it, right? And you are trying to interfere with them, with their path, with their free will, and the consequences of that, good effing luck. And even if it did work, which I don't think it would, the universe might make it work and teach you a lesson. If it did work, that person could be with you, but that's not what they wanted. Would you want that? Really? It's not true, it's not honest, it's just silly, it's foolish, and you're fooling yourself, basically. So, the other thing, of course, is negative magic, which is a whole issue unto itself. People out there, I don't fully understand the mentality of, I'm going to do what I want. That's what's wrong with the world, seriously. I'm going to do what I want, and I don't care what you think. I'm going to curse negative magic. I'm going to hex and curse you. I don't give an F. Really? Really? So, you don't care how your actions affect other people. You don't care as long as you're fine. And to be honest, if you're thinking like that, you're not fine. It's like going around attacking people. It's like, why? Protect yourself. Fine. There are negative energies out there in the world. There are negative people out there in the world, and there is no reasoning with them. Protect, reflect, push it back. And anybody who thinks that's not enough, there is nothing more satisfying than somebody attacking you. You reflect it, no problems, and then they suffer at the hands of their own negative action. You haven't done anything wrong because you've just reflected. You're like, I'm not taking your crap. And their actions leads to their problems, to their sufferings. I'm sorry, but the whole idea that you can just behave in such a way and there is no consequences is deluded. You think the higher powers that be are going to be fine with you attacking other sons and daughters of theirs? You think that you're never going to suffer any consequences for doing it? And people sort of try to dismiss it as like there's a lot of attacking the Wiccan stuff at the minute. It really irritates me. It's like their path is just as legitimate as any other, so just leave it. Like, you might not believe that everything comes back to you by 3, but that's just in my opinion, a way of teaching people that there is consequences to every action. Action and reaction. It's in science. Push, pull, light, dark, balance. You cannot say, I am both, I am a balance of both, but I don't believe in consequences, because then you're not both. Are you? Really? You're living with the blinders on. You cannot be a good balanced of a person if you honestly don't believe that actions don't have consequences, because that is balance. For every action there is an equal reaction. So, you do not have to do spell work to be a witch. You can, if you don't want to, if you think that spellwork should be a last resort option, which a lot of people do, they're like, I want to try and make sure that I've exhausted every other option available to me, which is probably wise, before I bother the Almighty Spirit with this. Go for it, right? Don't let anybody tell you that you have to be doing spellwork to be a witch. You don't have to do anything. It's a path of freedom, a personal path, and a way in which you carve out what you think is right. You will be challenged, you will be tested by the powers that be, and that's between you and them, and that's your personal path, and that's cool, right? Don't let anybody tell you you have to be a certain way to be a witch. However, it is my honest belief, you go through the world thinking you can behave badly all the time and just, you know, attack people and you'll never see any consequences is nuts. Is nuts. So, there, I'm done for today. So I hope I made some measure of sense again. I hope I did. Many blessings.